You are pushing yourself to the limits again and again. You can't be dishonest with that.
Welcome. We are here with Coach Adlai Cleveland at 10th Planet Detroit here in Livonia, Michigan. And we're going to have a conversation today with Adlai about what his story is, what his background is. I'm really excited about this. I first met Adlai, I don't know, it's been several years now. So Adlai, thank you. Welcome. I appreciate you taking the time. First of all, we're in this beautiful gym. You've got a yoga studio here next to us. You've got a huge mat space behind us. You've got a kombucha bar that you're working on, right?
Yep.
A couple locker rooms, bathrooms, phenomenal space. How long have you guys been in this location?
Let's see. We opened up officially in December of 2017.
Okay.
And honestly, this place was a complete dump when we moved in.
Is it sort of like a warehouse style space,
yes,
industrial space?
Yes, it was industrial space. And before we got it, I don't know who was in before the last guy, but the last guy that was here, he, quote, worked on cars.
Okay.
So yeah. I don't know if it wasn't for work, it was just like a hobby. So he rented a warehouse, and there was a bunch of office space up here in this area, and he needed to pull a car forward, so he just blew a hole in the wall and drove the car up. So like,
nice. Yeah,
this place was completely trashed when we moved in. So did
he leave the car at least?
No, he didn't leave the car at least, but he left some nice oil stains in the back. So yeah, everything that you see in this building is built by us.
And you guys do a lot of the labor yourself?
Yeah, we did 90% of the labor by ourselves.
Wow, that's awesome. So as a team, right?
Yes.
That's one thing I've noticed with certain martial arts, and jiu-jitsu is one of them. A lot of grappling arts seem to be this way, that there's a really tight sort of team dynamic to it. Now we know, like, a lot of times it's because you're competing, and so there's that team quality. But to me, it seems like it's a little more than that. I was wondering if you could maybe talk to us a little bit about your student community here and really what the dynamic is like in your gym.
Yeah, like you said, I've done a lot of martial arts over the years. You've done a lot of martial arts over the years. I've never experienced a community like jiu-jitsu. And you see that in pretty much any good jiu-jitsu school across the country. And it's just, it's a brotherhood. And I think personally, a lot of it comes down to the fact that, like, you fully trust your training partners on the mat and training, because, like, they can injure you at any point in time. You have to have the certain level of trust with the people that you're working with, to work the techniques again and again and again, get your reps in, and have control enough to apply the technique properly, but not hurt you. So it develops that certain degree of trust. And there's always that one person in the gym who's like, oh, he goes too hard. Nobody wants to work with him. And
the groin grab is the most street lethal technique ever devised.
But it really helps to develop that trust.
Well, there's that kind of like inherent, it's maybe not like the toughest martial art word we could think of, but there's like a vulnerability to that, isn't there, right? You got to kind of literally stick your neck out there a little bit. And, if you're on the mat or whatever the situation is, and say, I don't know, I guess do your worst, but not too bad,
100%.
Yeah.
Plus, day in and day out in jiu-jitsu, unlike a lot of other martial arts out there, like, you truly test yourself day in and day out. Because we go live in rolling in live training every single night, and you are pushing yourself to the limits again and again, and you can't be dishonest with that. Joe Rogan has this big speech where he talks about jiu-jitsu and honesty and all that other stuff. You can't lie, you can't BS on the mats when you're going live. Either you did the escape or you didn't do the escape. Either you got the choke or you didn't get the choke. You can't say, oh, I kinda, or what. No, it's either it happened or it didn't happen. So there's a certain level that of introspection where it forces you to throw all the BS aside, throw all the excuses aside, and be honest with yourself. Be like, this is a problem for me. I need to work on it. I'm getting to mount, but everyone's getting out of there. So I can lie to myself again and again and say, no, I've got a good mount. They just, he was just sweaty, so he got out. But that can only go on for so long. Until you finally face the fact where it's just like, oh, my mount sucks. I need to deal with that. I need to get better at this.
So it's that kind of like the shared experience of going through those experiences together as a group that forms that bond. What maybe differentiates 10th Planet from other styles or schools of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
Yeah, so 10th Planet is, I guess you would call it a non-traditional style of jiu-jitsu because we don't wear the gi. We have a couple of gi classes for the kids, but our adult classes are 100% no gi. Within 10th Planet, we have all the techniques that you see in traditional jiu-jitsu, plus some extras, plus our specific style of lockdown, our specific style of the back that involves the truck and the twister, our specific style of rubber guard, you know. So you're not going to see that at other traditional jiu-jitsu schools. 10th Planet really developed because we didn't have I guess you call it like the starting point in the gi. Because a lot of schools, when they take the gi off and do their no-gi training, they're trying to take techniques that use gi grips and try to make it work no-gi. So try to modify it that way. So instead of trying to, I guess, reverse engineer a technique from the gi and turn it into a no-gi technique, our style is specific to that no-gi, and we built it from the ground up that way.
So does the context that people train here, is that different because of the lack of gi?
Somewhat, yeah. A lot of gi schools work a lot of the traditional self-defense stuff, similar to what you'll see in like some Aikido classes and Judo classes when they do self-defense with like knives and sticks and someone choking you against a wall and all that. We're focused on, you know, Eddie Bravo developed 10th Planet to be jiu-jitsu for MMA and no-gi competition. So that is our focus. Which is why we are a clinch-based system.
Interesting.
So in gi jiu-jitsu, you can grab the sleeves and put your feet inside their arms and get control of them with spider guard or, you know, whatever variation you're looking for, a lapel guard or lasso guard and all that. But we don't have the ability to grab the sleeve and maintain control. So we're looking for clinches. We're looking for tight overhooks. We're looking for deep underhooks. We're looking for body lock clinches. We're looking for any way to tie up and get close to our opponent.
It's interesting then for MMA because that by default you're limiting their striking by developing that better grip and that better lockdown.
And what's the hardest place to punch somebody? It's usually when they're right here. You can't really punch them very effectively. So that's part of the tie-in to MMA. When you put an overhook on somebody, they can't punch you with that arm anymore. If I put a body lock and bury my head in really tight underneath their neck, it's really hard to punch them. So that's kind of how the system developed, was always having that in mind of, all right, there's a strike coming, how do I deal with that?
Sort of like anti-striking grappling.
The nice thing is that everything you learn in no-gi, you can still do with the gi on. But it doesn't work the other way around. And you know, the gi versus no-gi debate has been going on for forever, basically. It's like, oh, well, in order to get better at no-gi, you have to train the gi. In order to get better at this, you have to train in that. And it's just, you know, there is no such thing as this is better, that is better. It's just, what do you want to get good at? What do you want to get good at? Do you want to compete in MMA? Well, they don't wear a gi, so you probably shouldn't train a gi. Do you want to get good at competing in the gi and win IBJJF Worlds? Then you probably should train the gi. Exactly. So it just depends on what your goals are and what you want to accomplish and what type of competitions you want to do. You know, I started in the gi and trained gi exclusively for 7 years. And
where was that?
At Kaizen. They used to be called East-West Martial Arts. My original instructor, Ryan Ferenzi.
I did capoeira there at least a little bit when I was like, I don't know, 17, 18, something like that. That's cool.
So it was originally East-West, and then they changed to Kaizen. But I trained there exclusively in the gi. And, you know, we'd have no gi days a couple days out of the month, but like, it wasn't enough for me, you know? So, you know, I always wanted to train no-gi. So when I found a style in a school that was no-gi based and focused on no-gi, I was just like, oh, I'm at home now.
So how did you, because there wasn't 10th Planet around here at that time,
No,
right?
I had to go out to California.
Okay.
And train with Eddie Bravo directly for a few summers. And then when I came back, he gave me permission to open up the first 10th Planet Detroit, which is located in Clawson at Martial Arts Unlimited. And then they ended up moving, and I was focusing on my graduate degree at the time. So I saw that as a good time to kind of step away for a little bit. Then I got the opportunity.
When was this?
2012, 2013, somewhere around there. And then 2014, that's when I opened up 10th Planet Ann Arbor.
Okay.
And living in Livonia and driving to Ann Arbor just got to be way too
Yeah,
much. So
sure.
I decided to open up something close to home. This is just a couple miles from my house.
You've mentioned several times now Eddie Bravo,
Mm-hmm.
who I'm a fan of. He's such a dynamic, like electrifying, charismatic dude. But for people who might not know who he is, could you talk a little bit about who he is, maybe what his, kind of quick origin story for him?
Absolutely. Yeah, so Eddie was a student of the master Jean-Jacques Machado, one of the, one of the old school greats in jiu-jitsu. And he has a deformity in his hand, so he can't make the same gi grips. So he relied a lot on overhooks and underhooks and that same clinch style.
Okay.
And Eddie started picking that up and then turned that into a whole system.
So he kind of really ran with that.
Yes, he really ran with that, and that's what was the foundation. Was Jean-Jacques' clinch system. And Eddie's just taking that one step further and one step further and one step further.
Was that in California?
It was in California, yes. Okay. Yeah, he was one of the old school students of Jean-Jacques, and he won North American trials for Abu Dhabi back in like 2002, and then competed at the Abu Dhabi World Championships 2003, and as a brown belt went to Abu Dhabi and tapped out Hoyler Gracie.
Oh wow!
And then lost in the next round to Leo Vieira.
Okay.
But that cemented his legacy right
sure.
there. Is being someone who's never been tapped out in competition before. And
that was a good day.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it was a really really good day.
At least for Eddie.
Yeah. But he had just such a different style of jiu-jitsu, a different. Like when you watch one of his matches, it didn't even look like the same thing as what everybody else was doing.
Right.
So he got a lot of attention because of that, because of his unorthodox techniques and approach and all that. So
has his training style evolved along those same lines? Because I feel like that's one of the reputations that 10th Planet has, for at least from the outside, is that it's a really creative style. And I have to assume that whether it's drilling or lack thereof, that's something in the way that you guys train that's got to bring it out. Not just, apart from obviously saying, the techniques are different, but what's that approach to training look like, at least compared to traditional BJJ?
So the thing that really brought me into 10th Planet, and even more so than the fact that they were no-gi, was going out to Los Angeles, taking some of Eddie's classes, and just seeing the open-mindedness. Open-minded approach. It was like being in a lab.
Cool.
Eddie had a few guys that went to a seminar with the Mendez brothers, and they came back. He's like, all right, what did they show? What did they do about this? All right, I see that. Now, how do they address this? And just looking at
kind of like almost a Bruce Lee approach a little bit. Yeah,
exactly.
Right.
And it's funny to say because Bruce Lee is one of Eddie's idols.
Okay.
Yeah, his son's middle name is Lee.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Bruce Lee.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it was the same JKD mindset of figure out what works.
Yeah.
And take that, adapt it, and make it your branch off of that. And so it wasn't so many people in the world of jiu-jitsu. It's my way or the highway.
Right.
It's just I have all the answers. If you go with something other than what I'm telling you, like you're banished.
You're just wrong.
You're wrong, and you're banished from the community and exiled.
Do you I would describe so much of martial art as being that way, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Do you think that that's maybe even more the case with jiu-jitsu, or it's kind of that's how it goes?
It depends.
Yeah,
it just depends on who your instructor is.
Sure.
But so many people are brought up to be like, this is the answer. This is the only way to do it. Anybody else who does it the other way is wrong. And all you got to do to see that is go on any message board, jiu-jitsu related, and it's just like. Just vileness.
Yeah, right.
I guess you could say about any message board these days.
Sure, right.
But the thing that really cemented that 10 plans where I want to be is Eddie's open-minded approach, and the fact that he never flat out says like I have the answers. This is the only way to do it. He's always looking at. This just impressed me so much that he's always looking at. All right, this is working really well for this guy because he does it like this. This guy's a little bit different. His flexibility is better, so he does it like this, and that's why this is better. And he's always looking for improvements. He's always looking for ways to make things better. And if you look at his warm-up system that he has at HQ, he's got 32 different flows that you are required to know before you go to the advanced class.
Okay.
And
these are partner flows or like
yes,
individual mat?
partner flows.
Okay.
Partner flows. So it's like a set of techniques.
Yeah.
And they started out very simple,
Okay.
like one technique at a time, and you get like a bunch of reps on it. And over time, they've evolved and grown into like this long, intricate flow of back and forth techniques and
chaining together.
and chaining them together. And
Is there's an exchange in
Yes.
that though, as opposed to like a shoot flow maybe where it's a
Yes.
one-sided thing?
it's very different than shoot, because
Okay.
in shoot is tap, 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 tap,
Yes,
tap,
right.
tap, 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 tap. This is you pass the guard, then you mount, then they roll you over, then you go for an arm bar, then they escape the arm bar into a
Okay.
leg lock, you escape the leg
Okay.
lock, and it
Right.
becomes this very elaborate
Right.
the set of flows. And
It's almost like a sample contest in that way then.
exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
But you know, it's been a little point of contention too among the association, because like they keep changing. Yeah. But Eddie's whole thing is, I want them to be perfect.
Yeah, right.
They're never going to be solidified. They're always going to be changing and adapting, because that's the way Eddie is.
We even have that in the organization that I'm in with under Rick Fay, where
Yeah.
you know there's certain parts of it, like our second phase, sort of notoriously and comically everybody teases them. It's always different, or every outline anybody has or set of curriculum is, as soon as you get handed it, it's outdated. And it's taken me so long to realize, like, oh, because change is the point.
Yeah.
Right? It's not the set of techniques or whatever.
Yes.
That's not that it's irrelevant, but yeah, the fluidity and that laboratory process, that's actually the point. You know?
Yeah, same thing with us. Is like, as soon as we get an updated set, it's
Yeah.
like there are already changes.
Yeah,
Every
right.
time I go to LA, the warm-ups are different than the last time I checked them online.
Yeah.
So
don't go out there with like
always-
a full head of like, I'm about to really impress them with how much
Yeah.
I've memorized this.
Yeah. Yeah, I've done that a few times. Where it's just like, all right, I've got these down. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to show Eddie how well I know them. And that's new.
That's totally different.
All right, that's new too. All right, cool. How do you do that?
Yeah.
All right, I think okay. And then I pull them aside after class. I'm like, all right, I have a little trouble with this, that.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing too is, you know, for having such almost a celebrity status within
Sure.
jiu-jitsu,
Yeah.
Eddie is always so approachable.
That's cool.
And so generous with his time and his attention and everything else. He's always down to, you know, take pictures with people, answer questions, and
Right.
you know, you can be someone that trains at some random association from somewhere out of state. You visit LA, you go train his class, and he's going to give you just as much attention.
Yeah.
And welcome you just like any of his other people.
That's really
you know,
cool.
He's one of the most welcoming and
Yeah.
kind-hearted people I've ever met in my life. Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that too, because to me that's a big part of the way he comes across.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? For all of the like different parts of his personality that
Oh,
come
yeah.
out. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah.
Everybody sees. He strikes me as a guy that's really approachable. So that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
What is your background, or what are some of the arts that you've learned or been taught, and how does that influence you? Let's start first. How does it influence you as a martial artist today?
Okay. So when I was 9 years old, I started in Taekwondo.
Okay.
And took a little break around middle school, and then around high school got back into martial arts in Aikido,
Cool.
and then Japanese sword, doing...
In Livonia?
Yes, in Livonia.
The 5 Mile place?
Yep, 5 Mile.
When?
Let's see, high school, that was 97 through 2001.
We were there at the same time.
Yeah, we were. maybe on different nights or something, or maybe we were in the
Remembering
same
now
class.
is something
but
that we talked about this at some
yeah,
point. But
yeah, the Budo Rokukai.
Yeah, that's
Aikido
awesome.
there.
Yeah,
yes.
and the Ido, right.
Yep, and then I trained with Gerhard Weber in the
small
Ido
world.
classes that he held there.
Yeah.
And then Wednesday nights I would drive out to Sterling Heights to train with Sensei Nakura,
Okay.
because he would do Aikido and sword on Wednesday nights.
Okay.
And I got my black belt in Ido while I was in high school.
Okay. I did not last that long. So
Never.
Good for you.
I only made it to brown in Aikido.
Yeah.
But sword, honestly, the Japanese sword is my favorite martial art.
Is it really?
I love it so much.
Yeah.
There's just not that much interest these
Yeah,
days.
I know.
Everyone wants to do MMA and kickboxing and jiu-jitsu, and the traditional arts are starting to lose, especially the more esoteric and like hard
Yeah.
to find traditional martial arts.
Sure.
You know how that goes.
Yeah, yeah, very well. Yeah, and it's interesting, and like you're touching on something that I have to remind myself of all the time, that it's like as a teacher, right, and as a school owner, as a business person in that arena, there are certain things you have to, and there's certain maybe sacrifices you have to take with your time as far as training goes, but it doesn't mean that Adlai, the martial artist, can't still love and invest some time in all those other things. It doesn't matter if it's going to happen on your schedule or not, you know. Which I think, by the way, for school owners is something that's missed or overlooked so much. Is that not just willingness to try new things, but kind of permission almost, right? Like, no, this is what I do. Now I got to put all my eggs in this basket because that's what sells. Like, yeah, from the hours of 5 to 9 maybe, you know, but the rest of the day we can do other things too, you know.
Don't get me wrong, I love jiu-jitsu.
Oh yeah, of course.
Jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
It's like, it's right there. It's like Japanese sword's right here, jiu-jitsu's right there. But still, I just have
way
a
more
special
movies
place.
about the sword.
Exactly,
Man.
exactly. There's something about the allure of the samurai.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So anyway,
well, and even looking around your space. I mean, I was just thinking about that. I was thinking about in the bathroom because you've got really cool like watercolor, you know, Japanese inspired samurai paintings and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's awesome.
Yeah, so that's always been a part of my training, is that samurai spirit of, you know, seeking perfection in your technique and in other areas, letting that transfer to other areas of your daily life. But anyway, so I got my black belt in the Ido under Sensei Nakura. From there, I started training at the Dragon Academy in Livonia. I don't think they're around anymore, but they had a whole bunch of arts. They had Taekwondo, Wing Chun, Krav Maga. So I started training in those also while I was in high school. I made the switch from Aikido to those. Got back into Taekwondo. Eventually got my 2nd degree black belt there.
Okay.
Wing Chun. I was training at the Dragon Academy for a while. Did Krav Maga there for a while.
Oh, okay.
And also did Wing Chun Do at the Ambrose Academy.
Yeah, sure.
With Sibak Ambrose. Did that for several years. My first exposure to real grappling is David Hatch took me through the first Shuto flow.
Okay.
So that was the first like real grappling I did before jiu-jitsu.
Okay. So let's springboard from that then, because you also have experience, background, credentials, if I'm not mistaken, and maybe you can elaborate on that in CSW and STX and Erik Paulson's repertoire. So when did that transition, or when did you find those arts?
Okay, so towards my 3rd year in undergrad, I started training jiu-jitsu at East West Martial Arts, and just loved it so much that I started doing I was still training all the other stuff at the same time, but then I started less time doing that and more time doing jiu-jitsu and less, and just kept shifting my time.
Which is what happens when people find jiu-jitsu.
Oh yeah,
just slowly.
So from there, let's see, I was with Ryan all the way up through brown belt, and then jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai and like more of an MMA focus as I got older and towards the end of graduating in college, and had a couple of MMA fights. Okay. Just amateur fights. Okay. And
under like when you were training with Ryan, you mean?
So, yeah, when I was training with Ryan, and won both of them, thankfully.
Nice.
Didn't really take any shots to the head either, so that was good. I got my bell rung the first fight in the first 20 seconds, but got the rear naked choke victory after.
Nice.
So that was
That's good.
Let's see, around 2009. Yeah, around 2008, 2009. That's when I started training with Chris Malgeri at Martial Arts Unlimited, because he offered classes in everything.
Yeah, everything.
Muay Thai, Savate, Jiu-Jitsu, CSW, Kali, JKD, all of that. So I started making the drive out there a few times a week to
Plus
train
he had
with
other
them.
people there teaching Aikido and Taekwondo at some point.
Taekwondo, Aikido, Kenpo, Tai Chi. It was just a school that offered so much. So I found my way out there, and they always hosted Erik Paulson and Ajahn Chai and Dan DeSanto. So I knew them over the years because I did all those seminars. That's when I did my instructorship in Muay Thai under Ajahn Chai. Did my initiator test in Savate with Salem Asli, JKD and Kali under Guru Dan. And then when I was out in California training with Eddie, I would go to Erik Paulson's classes in the morning and do private lessons with him in the morning, then go to Eddie's classes at night. Wow. And I did that for 3 summers in a row. Like
that's a hell of a day, man. Yeah, that's awesome.
Tell me
was that like the Fullerton School? Where is that now? Is it
yes, that was the Fullerton School. Okay. So let's see, summer 2011, 2012, and 2013, I went and spent 4 months at a time, each one of those summers out there training.
Good for you.
And like I said,
that's the dream, man.
I got
It really is.
I had, the opportunity to do it, so I did it and just committed to an insane training schedule. And
Right.
while I was out there, I also was training in Enshin karate when I could fit it in.
Cool.
At the Irvine Enshin Karate Dojo.
Okay.
And
And why that?
it was something different.
Yeah.
It was something different. I was always a fan of Kyokushin karate because of just straightforward, pragmatic,
Yeah.
tough, tough guys. But they're
Slugfest, man.
still
Yeah.
so technical.
Yeah, sure.
Still so technical. And it was different than Muay Thai.
Yeah.
Because everybody these days does some version of Muay Thai.
Right.
So I wanted to do something different. So the first couple summers out there, I trained in Enshin when I could fit it in.
Okay.
And then, let's see, what did I do after that? Oh, yeah. And then going back to the Japanese sword, I found out that Toshishiro Obata, the founder of Shinkendo, is located in Little Tokyo. So I went to his school and respectfully asked to become a student and rekindled my love of the Japanese sword.
Yeah.
So I got to train directly under him all of those summers as well.
Oh, man.
And my last summer out there, I got linked up with Master Rafael Cordeiro. He is the trainer for a lot of the great Brazilians. Vanderlei Silva, Shogun Rua,
Excuse me. Yeah, I recognize the name
Anderson
Cordero.
Silva,
Okay.
Fabricio Verdum, Rafael dos Anjos. Just one of the great MMA coaches in the world. Loved their Muay Thai classes. Their Brazilian version of Muay Thai was just the most fun I've ever had in a striking class.
Really?
Yeah, Master Cordero runs such a fun, exhausting,
Yeah.
soul-breaking class. But oh my gosh, never had so much fun training striking in all my life. So I started going there now. And now whenever I have guys that are looking to fight, I'll take them out there for a week and run.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's like, all right, here you go. This is what it's like to be at a real
sink or
camp.
swim, right?
Yeah, have fun sparring with Rafael dos Anjos today. That'll be fun for you. Everyone, like you look at all the people I've trained with over the years, all of them have been so welcoming and just allowed me into their world so readily that I want to do the same for everybody who steps in the door here.
Pay that forward.
Yeah.
That's great, man. And everyone that steps through then is lucky to get that because, it's maybe not always the case, right? A lot of people luck out and get all this access. Like, good, I'm going to hoard it for myself. I got it all,
Yeah.
So just as somebody else that also teaches and learns and trains in this community, thanks for being of that type. For a beginner student that's interested in getting involved in, let's say, martial art in general, what are a couple things they should keep in mind when they're shopping for a style or for an instructor?
As far as the styles, just what do you want to learn? What do you want to get good at? If you want to learn how to handle a weapon, start looking at different Kali schools. Start looking at Japanese Kobudo schools. You want something more traditional, go that way. If you want something a little more modern, look at Kali. If you want to learn striking, just go and see what's in your area. Even if it's a Taekwondo school or a Muay Thai gym or whatever, you have to have that first-hand experience to see what it's like. Most schools these days do a free trial of some sort or a very low introductory price trial. Do it. Do it everywhere that you can do it so you can see what it's like. One, so that you feel comfortable there, and two, that your learning style matches their teaching style.
Nice. Okay.
And one thing I've learned as a teacher is to be flexible in my teaching style because over the years I've had to learn how to teach one thing 20 different ways.
Yeah, right.
The same techniques I teach from 10 years ago, I still teach them, but all right, this person's more of a visual learner, so I got to teach it to them this way. This one has to feel it done to them, so I got to do it to them.
Right.
This one, they like the explanation, so I have to explain it. But this one understands it differently, so I got to explain it a different way. So you have to. It's like I use this analogy sometimes. It's like when you come across somebody that doesn't speak English, speak a foreign language, they don't speak English. It doesn't help if you just repeat yourself louder. You just say, "Oh, hi, my name is Adlai." Oh, you don't speak. Hi, my name is. No, that doesn't work. But that's what we're doing with students when we just say the same thing again and again.
Right.
If they don't understand, you just say it again slower and louder.
Right.
They're not going to get a better understanding.
Sure.
You got to find a new way to explain it, or show it from a different angle, or
Right.
make them feel it, or however that student needs to learn that technique.
And and if there is a beginner student watching, a lot of traditional styles, they won't take that approach,
No.
right? It's not entirely unique in what you're saying just to you, but it's an important thing to keep in mind, that there are instructors like that are out there, because some traditional styles, you're going to see that thing that's like, no, this is how it's always been taught.
Yes.
And if it doesn't work for you, it's your fault,
Yes.
not the art's fault. And like, to me, some element of that I like as a student.
I do too.
Right? There's
And
the
it's
difference
funny.
between artist and teacher. I like a little bit of that rigidity, a little bit of that, like, hey man, this is 500 years old. I don't know who you are, but we don't need your input.
Exactly.
I kind of like that as a student.
There are certain times where that is appropriate. When I go
Yeah.
train Shinkendo with Toshishiro Obata,
Yeah.
with Kaiso Obata, it is a completely different
right.
way of training.
You're not like, well, technically,
No.
I'm an auditory learner. So.
You don't try. You may ask a question if they ask you if you have a question.
Yeah, sure, right, yeah.
But their method of teaching is very, very different than, I guess, mine personally, but like very different than most modern martial arts. Modern
Yeah.
martial arts, you tend to be
Right.
like, you try to be more approachable as
Right.
a coach and everything.
Right.
There they have the traditional Japanese mentality of, this is your instructor and you are down here.
Yes, right.
And you are going to maintain that, and you're gonna, I don't want to say like understand your place, but you gotta understand your place.
Yeah. And I
And
think that element appeals to some people. You know what I mean? They want to know, like it takes a certain set of confidence
Yes.
to be the guy at the top, right? And it takes a certain attitude or whatever. And so, yeah, I think some students really, they gravitate towards that. Like,
Yeah.
you can feel it off that guy or whatever,
And it has to be the right person doing it.
yeah, right.
It has to be the right
Right.
person. And the Obata family, they're the right people to run it.
Yeah,
Run
sure.
a program that way,
Right.
because it's so rigorous, and they will make corrections. All right, your footwork is wrong. Move this here. Your sword angle is wrong. This is wrong. Your body is wrong. Fix your posture. Do that. All right, full speed, full power. Go. You're still not doing it right. You're not doing it right. Fix this. Fix this. Fix this. Why are you doing it so slowly?
Yeah.
Full speed, full power.
Right.
Go.
And there's no like pat on the forehead
No.
kind of thing,
No, not at all. Not at
Which,
all.
again, as a teacher, I hand out a lot of pats on the forehead because I think that's a good method for
Yeah.
me as a teacher.
Yeah.
But yeah, as a student, most of the time I need
It
more
depends
of a
on
boot in the ass.
It depends on the art you're teaching too.
Sure, yeah.
Because if I'm teaching jiu-jitsu, it's very different than when I teach sword. When I teach
Yeah.
sword, I have a much closer approach to the Obata family.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm not like in jiu-jitsu, I'm always telling you what you're doing right, and then I'm going to try to fix the little things you're doing wrong, one thing at
Yeah.
a time.
Okay.
When I'm teaching Japanese sword, it's a lot more like, all right, you're doing that wrong, fix it.
Yeah.
All right,
yeah.
this is wrong, do it.
And so there you go as well, that for somebody that's shopping for a school or for an art, that even in one school, you're going to find different approaches.
Yes.
So to try all the different classes that you're
Exactly.
interested in, because
Exactly.
you might feel that different. So as a nice segue then, what arts do you teach other than the no-gi jiu-jitsu here? What's on your schedule? What's on the menu?
All right, so on the schedule, we've got the 10 plant jiu-jitsu classes. Our kids' classes are both gi and no-gi. We
Okay.
have 3 days a week of no-gi, 2 days a week of gi.
Okay.
We have wrestling 3 times a week. One of my guys, Nick Detling, runs all of our wrestling classes.
Okay.
We also offer Pikiti Tersha Kali. Justin is our instructor for that, and he is under Grand Tuhon Leo Gahe. We just had out for a seminar not too long ago.
Yeah.
We have another one coming up in September.
Okay.
To check
Yeah,
schedule,
that's
but
what I
believe
saw.
it's
Yeah.
September,
Yeah.
And we also have yoga classes in the yoga studio.
Okay.
But
And
that's
then
it at the
you
moment.
also do, you said Japanese sword.
Japanese sword, I have some students that I do a private group with.
Okay. Okay.
Right now it's only 3 people.
Okay.
And we're doing an informal class, more of like a private lesson
Okay.
between the 3 of them.
Is there any striking classes at all?
Not at the moment.
Okay.
Not at the moment. Right now we're just focused on being the best jiu-jitsu school we
Yeah,
can be.
sure. Yeah, that's
and,
great.
At some point in the future, I do plan on adding
Okay.
some type of striking classes, but I don't want to be fully responsible for them. I want to know that, if I have to travel, I don't need to find someone to cover it, and it's already covered by someone else, and that way I can teach when I want to.
Right.
I don't want to feel stuck teaching anything, because then my motivation goes down, and then my students don't get what I feel they deserve.
The best Adlai.
So, exactly.
For sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
So I'm looking for the right situation to come up and at the right time.
Okay.
And then we'll start branching out and adding a few more things.
Okay. If people wanted to find you guys here or to find you online, if they had questions or something like that, what's a good outlet to try to get a hold of you?
Well, our website is 10thPlanetDetroit.com.
Okay.
So that's pretty straightforward, easy to remember. It has our schedule, description of all of our classes, instructor bios are on there and everything.
Okay.
You can email us at 10planetdetroit@gmail.com, or give us a phone call, 734-713-8601.
I'm writing it on the bottom right now.
Yes. Give us a phone
You guys
call.
are you on social at all?
Yes, we're on social media. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram.
Okay. Just at 10 Planet Detroit?
I think so.
Yeah.
If you type in 10 Planet Detroit in the
you'll
search
find
bar,
it either way.
we'll come up.
Okay. And then you've got, you're teaching seminars, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so what's that look like? Where can people find you?
Oh boy, I'm working on dates right now.
Okay.
But upcoming dates I'm looking at are just outside St. Louis, Missouri, 10 Planet O'Fallon, 10 Planet Kansas City, 10 Planet Jacksonville, 10 Planet Rochester. I'm in the middle of scheduling some stuff.
Okay.
So
New York?
Yes, Rochester, New York. Because when I teach the guys that are interested in doing MMA, when I teach them how to strike on the ground, it's a mixture between a lot of different stuff. Like the vast majority of which comes from Erik Paulson, obviously.
Okay.
Vast majority, because he's one of the pioneers of mixed martial arts,
sure.
and he has such a varied background.
Right.
You look at the stuff that you and I have done, and then you look at him, and it's like we're like.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
We have this much versus that much.
Yeah. I was just say, like, that's the direction you point the ship.
Yeah,
but,
exactly. Exactly. So the vast majority of my MMA ground striking comes from him.
Okay.
But I've done several seminars with Boss Rutan, and I've taken a lot of that.
Okay.
His ability to generate power on the ground is amazing. So I'm taking a little bit of that. Master Cordero, too, as well. And then I do a surprising amount of Wing Chun on the ground.
Yeah.
Learning to trap arms and then punch him in the face over that is just...
Yeah,
I just don't do the chain punches on
Greg
the ground.
Nelson, I think, was the first time that Arjan Greg was the first guy that really saw really start to talk about that. Like, you're fooling yourself if you don't think that stuff doesn't translate onto the ground, or what a gap that could be if you don't have some comfort level with that. And once I saw, it may have even just been in a video or something, once I saw what he was talking about, I'm like, oh, okay. The trapping is one of my favorite things in the world. I just think it's so fascinating. It's like I don't know, like Sudoku with your body or something like that. It's just, it's really engaging to me. But yeah, when you see it down on the ground, you're like, oh, that's what it's all about. Okay, very cool.
Our philosophy when I teach striking on the ground is create an opening, do damage to it.
Yeah.
Create an opening, do damage to it. When you see so many guys, even at the highest level in the UFC, they're just throwing punches and wild hammer fists and everything else, where if you just move the hand out of the way and then punch them, it's like... Right. You did way more damage with that one shot than you did with 50 deflected, and then you broke your hand on the guy's elbow.
Yeah.
And
I always think that with guys like Lomachenko, where there's all these. He's one of my all-time favorites in the history of boxing already. But when you look at him pull a limb and hit, like, okay, so now we're going to get this viral video that's a compilation of all these things, right? And it's trapping. It's something that exists in all these different arts. But it feels and looks very novel in that arena, right?
Yeah.
And everybody's like, oh man, I got to start trying that. It's sort of, it seems like this new idea for a lot of people. And but I also think if you asked like a 12-year-old, okay, if you were trying to hit me and I went here, what should you do? They'd be like, I don't know, move your arm and hit you. Like, there you go. Right. We like overtrain the brain too much sometimes, and like just do the simple thing, man. Move that arm and hit that dude in the face. So that's cool. Okay. Well, Adlai's just a remarkable guy, so I really appreciate you taking the time, man. I know you're busy. I'm catching him while he's trying to leave class and go home to eat, so thanks for hanging out with me, man. I'll put all the links and everything in the show notes below, but do make sure, give them a call, come up, set up a time to check the space out. It really is a genuinely beautiful gym, really great guys. When I walked in, they were finishing up classes. I couldn't get too many pictures, but everyone was really welcoming here. You even signed up a new student while I was here setting the shoot up, and I was overhearing him, if you don't mind me saying, talking about what a great community he seemed like. He really felt like this was just off of his first class. So that's a pretty great plug right there from a guy that had no reason to to tell you anything. That was his first day in class, I think. So definitely check them out if you're in or near Livonia, and we'll try to get you again sometime if we can.
Sounds good,
Hear
man.
how the
Anytime.
schedule went. So thanks, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.